Okay, and you would say, okay, waking up in a room, that's kind of not very special. But this time it was very different because I woke up in this room and I had no idea where I was. So I had kind of memory loss. So, okay, sorry. So, but slowly when I woke up, I was just looking around and uh, observing the environment, and then I started to see, okay, this is a hotel room. And also next to it, I felt a bit sick and a bit ill. And the whole fact of the memory loss gave me a lot of confusion. So, okay, sorry. Okay, at that moment, the memory was coming back. And, okay, okay, my memory was coming back, and what I found out that I was in Germany, because I was there with my art class, because I was an art student. And the night before, we were drinking and we had a dinner. So, and I also remember that when we came back from the dinner or from the drinking, I was a bit ill and sick. So I ended up in this room where I had memory loss. So, okay, you asked me why this story, but I come a little bit later. I come back on the story because it's part of the thing. Okay, so I want to introduce a concept of a German philosopher called Martin Heidegger. He's okay. Very short on Martin Heidegger. He's philosopher living from 1869 till 1976, and he's a very great thinker, but he's also very controversial because of his involvement in the Nazi Party in the Second World War. So, but nevertheless, he has some beautiful concepts, and one of those concepts I use in my as an inspiration in my work. So. First of all, the concept is in a book of him, and it's the book called Being in Time, written in 1927. It's an investigation of beings, so beings such as yourself, and he's just through a method of phenomenological ontology tries to investigate how humans relate with the environment. But I'm not going to go very deep in Heidegger because it's very complex philosophy. But there's one concept I really find very beautiful. It's very simple, and for me it brings a lot of images in my mind, and that's the concept of thrownness. Yeah, basically it says humans are being thrown into the world, just in a context like people are just throwing into a family, let's say the city, a country, the world. So. That's why. Oh shit! Sorry. Anyway, but this concept I used in my artworks, and this is my first artwork I'm going to talk about. It's called "In Search of Habitat," and the movie is not playing. Oh, yeah, it's playing now. Right. This work, yeah, it's about yeah, about me and trying to root in this world, and it's like the Heidegger concept you've been throwing into this kind of world, and you need to find a place in it. So this work is more like a personal expression of it. So, oh, shit. Out of this this work before the In Search of Habitat, I came in contact with people, and we start to think about a larger project, and that was the Bowing Forest I did in 2016. And it comes from a very different starting point. It comes from the city of Rotterdam. They had a, let's say, a call for ideas for surplus harbors. So you can see a map of Rotterdam. Rotterdam is the second city in the Netherlands. The lecture before was also about Rotterdam, but the city of Rotterdam has a lot of harbors, and they are not being used. So the city of Rotterdam had a plan to reuse it. So people had the chance to come up with new ideas for using these harbors. And in specific, it's about the Rijnhaven. That's kind of the location. So me and a group of people, we were thinking about the project. So we took elements out of my In Search of Habitat sculpture, and we combined it with a more recyclable idea. So we came up with using buoys, which are normally used for safety in the harbor or safety in the sea lanes. So, and we wanted to have 21 of them. So we were very lucky because the responsible authority in Holland for all the infrastructure, they have a lot of those objects left because they have scrap metal worth, but for the rest they don't have any use anymore for this. So they give these ones to us, this 21, so we could use them. So what we came with the idea to use these buoys and plant trees in it. So that's by the side of it, it looks very simple, and that's maybe also the quality of it, but it's not really simple. So we had to do a lot of gathering info. So what we did was we used like universities. We used two kind of university, one for the technical problems and the other one for the more green problems. So you can see here a bit what the problems with this is a stat which gives direction what kind of tree would be appropriate to use in this kind of conditions, because it's obvious that you cannot just throw any kind of tree in this container because it will die. So you can see for example, with the icons, you can see a little bit shapes which are very different, like a cone or like a bowl. And so after all these calculations and thinking by these universities, they came up with one tree, and it was the elm tree. It's also the Dutch national tree, so it was appropriate, I think. This one was the strongest, so we used this one. And we also had some technical yeah, let's say, obstacles to overcome, because the harbor of Rotterdam was inwards, but it has still some tides. So basically, if you just attach it to a rope, it would, if there's too much difference in height, it would collapse or sink. So we had to find out, yeah, some methods to overcome this. So and for the, yeah, let's say, test if it's possible to keep these trees alive, we built 2 prototypes, and we monitored these prototypes for like yeah, almost a year to see what the effect was on the trees, and of course if the floating bodies would also stay afloat. So yeah, as last I want to I show a little movie. I like this movie because it shows how they how the city is taking care of these trees, and that's what I think is nice in the project, that it's still this is not something which is you put there and it stays there. It's just something which is constantly in a relation with the environment. So. That's it.